Happy day all. So today's session is about the basics of IoT. The agenda would be introduction to IoT, advantages of it, components of IoT, followed by the IoT architecture. Today, internet has really touched every corner of the globe and is really affecting human life in an unimaginable ways. We are entering into an era called the Internet of Things, which refers to the network of physical objects, that is the things, which are further connected to sensors, actuators, processors and other such technologies in order to exchange data and communicate with other devices. In order to establish such interconnection, computation power and intelligence, the IoT devices are embedded with sensors, actuators, processors, transceivers. So we can say the IoT as not a single technology, but rather it's going to be a combination of various other technologies that makes it work in an effective way. So the major vision or the goal of IoT is to connect the unconnected, meaning the objects which is not entered the network has to be connected so as to communicate with the other devices and exchange the information. In our day-to-day life, we use IoT devices such as our smartphones, smartwatches, so that we'll be able to track each and every data from remote locations as well. Next, coming on to the applications and advantages of IoT. There are various applications of IoT such as healthcare, smart agriculture, smart homes, smart cities and other such examples and applications are there. So when we talk about smart agriculture, the robots, drones and IoT devices plays a very important role where the crops, the moisture of the soil, various fields, agricultural areas can be monitored very effectively from a remote location and the relevant data will be notified to the farmers instantly. Also, when we talk about smart homes, when we implement a smart home, we can also detect if there is any intruder getting into the house and also we can track all the stock related data. And also we can track all the grocery related data, manage the temperature of the air conditioner, manage the temperature of the refrigerator and other such numerous examples exist when it comes to smart homes. Thus, the major advantage of using such IoT is to reduce the human functionalities where all the activities can be automated without the human intervention at physical locations. Also, data analytics is one of the prime advantage of IoT because based on the data collected, better inferences can be made out of it. Next, coming on to the major components of the IoT, we have four important components related to the IoT. The first one is going to be the things or devices. The second one is going to be the connectivity. Third one is the data processing and the last fourth will be the user interface. So these four components acts as the fundamental blocks of IoT system. So when we talk about the things or devices, the physical real-time objects, sensors, actuators, all those things comes under this particular category which makes a fundamental blocks of the IoT. Sensor is used to collect a very minute data from the surrounding environment. So based on the output of the sensor, it has been classified into digital sensors and analog sensors. Analog sensors are those where the output will be in a continuous manner such as temperature sensors, and in case of digital sensors the output will be discrete. So there are various sensors such as humidity sensors, pressure sensors, moisture sensors and etc. So these sensors are used to gather the information. Next, the actuators is used to perform some operations based on the data collected by the sensors. So say for example, the output of sensors is going to be electrical signals, then the actuator will perform some operation and it gives the output in the form of mechanical energy. The second component is going to be the connectivity. So once the data has been collected by the sensors, it will further be transferred to the cloud infrastructure. So in order to do that, we need a communication medium to transfer the data from one location to the other. So for that, we can use various communication mediums such as 5G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee and many more options are available. So while constructing an IoT system, so we have to choose a better connectivity so as to transfer our data in a much more reliable way. So the third component will be the data processing. So once the data has been gathered by the sensors, collected and transferred to the cloud infrastructure, it has to be processed by the software. So here we use various machine learning algorithms to do that particular task. So data processing is really very important because only based on the processed data we can make the relevant inferences out of it. So data processing is very important because it gives rise to the data analytics and to draw a kind of decision making based on the processed data. The last component is the user interface. So once the data has been gathered by the sensors, moved to the cloud infrastructure, processed, then it has to be made available to the end users. So based on the data, the user can also perform some operations. Say for example, if the temperature of the refrigerator goes down, then the user can monitor that at remote locations and he can update or modify the temperature. Also, there are some cases where the IoT system will perform some operations automatically without any human intervention. Say for example, if an intruder gets into the smart home, the IoT device will detect it and not only notify the user but also it will send an instant message to the concerned authorities to take immediate actions. So sending the alarms, notifying the users by messages or sending emails, all those things comes under the user interface. Coming on to the architecture of the IoT architecture differs widely from one industry to the other based on the IoT system it adopts. So the primary or the most generic architecture has 3 layers. The first layer is going to be the perception layer, second is going to be the network layer, and the third layer will be the application layer. So these 3 layers are the primary or the generic one. Here we are going to see the 5-layer architecture. So the first layer is going to be the perception layer, followed by the network layer, then the middleware, followed by application layer, and the last one is going to be the business layer. So each and every layer in the IoT architecture have some services to render to its above layer. Perception layer being the very first layer, it is used to gather the information. So we have the physical devices, sensors, actuators in this perception layer, which helps in gathering the information from the surrounding environment. So the primary task of the perception layer is to gather the information and pass it on to the next layer, which is the network layer. So the network layer, as the name says, it's going to act as a bridge between the perception layer and the middleware layer. So the gathered data has to be transferred to various other devices over the internet. We can use a lot of communication mediums such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee and all to perform the task. And not only the communication medium, but the network layer is also dealt with various protocols to do that work very efficiently. Next, coming on to the middleware layer. Middleware layer acts as an interface and it is an integral part of the supporting architecture which helps to connect various other external programs. It also has other such complex functionalities such as storage, computation, processing and action taking capabilities. Next comes the application layer. So the major responsibility of the application layer is to send the alarm to the users and to notify them based on the processed data. It uses various protocols such as constrained application protocol, MQTT. So the last layer is going to be the business layer. Each and every business has its own goals and objectives to accomplish various tasks based on the gathered intelligent data. So the business will probably come up with data analysis and decision making will be done based on the gathered processed data. So these decision making and data analysis will enrich the business by increasing their productivity, and by collecting the past present data, the business will precisely plan for its future. Thank you.